Okay, so this is a demo of the installer app used by TeMeDa installers to install a telematics device into the TeMeDa.com system. So I've already gone to the App Store. I'm using an iPhone here, and I'm emulating this on my computer here. So I've gone to the App Store and I've installed the TeMeDa installer app. So you can see the icon here in the lower right. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up. Okay, so you'll get a user ID and password issued by TeMeDa that will be set up for your particular account. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in. Okay, so the first thing it asks you here, it brings you to the home screen and it asks you to choose a customer. So TeMeDa will assign customers to each installer. So when you go ahead and select choose a customer, you'll have a list of one or more customers that you'll be installing for. So I'm going to go ahead and choose the second one here, Mobitex. Okay, so as soon as I do that, it pulls up the home menu refreshes here with some additional information. So you can see that we have the ability to add assets, and we have the ability to add up to 187. So that will be the number of telematics devices that this customer currently has, and those would be the pool of devices that you'd be able to install from. Okay, the next section is the installed assets. So far I've installed 25. Out of those 25, I can see that 24 are verified and 1 is unverified. And I'll further explain what that means in a few minutes. Then we have a help section and contact us. Okay, so as an installer, my primary role is going to be adding assets and installing those devices into those assets. So I'm going to go ahead and click Add Asset. Okay, so that brings us up to the Add Asset screen. So it's basically 3 steps to add an asset. You can see we're on step 1 of 3. Up on the top, we have a home button if we ever want to cancel out and return, and then the next button to get to the next step. You can see if I try and enter next without filling out the required information, I get a little pop-up that says I need to enter all the required fields. Those are the ones, of course, with a red asterisk. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is select a device. I'm going to go ahead and touch that. So I can either search for the device I'm looking for. This is a list of all the serial numbers from those unassigned devices, and then the device types in parentheses there. So you can see the different types and the serial numbers. So I'm just going to choose one here. I'll choose an MC1. Okay, so the next thing is an asset name. So I'll go ahead and just enter a fictitious asset name here. I'll say truck 123. Okay, so let's choose a year. Let's say it's a 2010. I do need to enter a make and model. So I'll say Toyota, and it's a Tundra. Okay. Next field here is VIN, or manufacturer serial number. You can enter the VIN, or you can actually take a photo. If you open up this on the side of the door, you could actually use this to take a photo and scan the barcode, scan the VIN. So here's just my screen here. But you could take a photo, and it would capture that VIN for you automatically. License plate, you could enter that here. I'm just going to skip that. And then you can take a photo of the asset. You can either select a photo that's on your camera or take a photo. So if I chose from my existing photos, you can kind of come and see in here, it would choose. I could come through here and pick a photo, or I could actually take a photo, and it will kick off your camera, and you'll be able to take a photo. Okay, I'm going to skip that just for now. Okay, so that's step 1. I'm going to go ahead and hit next. Go to step 2. So for tracking these assets, we either are going to enter an odometer and or an engine hours. So I'm just going to enter an odometer. So Let's say this particular truck has 50,000 miles. Harness type. So this is a list of the different harnesses that connect the telematics device to the vehicle itself. In this case, I'm just using a standard, actually it's a MC1, so it's not a typical good example, but I will just choose a harness type here. Battery voltage, so this is the voltage of the asset itself, usually a 6, 12, or 24 volt. Fuel type, you can enter the fuel type, so gasoline. If you want to enter an additional equipment ID, you can do so there. Time zone defaults to your time zone. Asset description. So one thing about any of these fields actually is you can use the speech to text utility on your phone. So if you wanted to enter a description here, you can either type it, I could type in a description here, or if I wanted to, I can click my little microphone and give more description detail here. And you can see it enters that text. Okay, so that's good for an asset description. I'll move on to the next step. Okay, when did we install this telematics device? It's defaulting to today. If I wanted to enter an antenna type, I could do so as well. A couple other fields. If a relay was installed, you would select yes. And if this is for yellow iron, you could select that as well. Any GPS installation notes, if you want to specify anything here, you can do so as well. And I think that's going to be good enough for now. And down at the bottom here, we have two options. We can save, that'll just save this asset, or we can save and add more. So if you were adding multiple at a time, you could hit the save and add more, and it'll take you back into this add mode. But I'm going to go ahead and hit save. Okay, so it tells me that the asset was installed but has not yet been verified. So my asset called truck123 with that particular device serial number was installed but could not be verified. And that's pretty typical. I'm installing a fictitious asset here, so that particular unit hasn't been powered on. It hasn't reported into our back end, so that's why it's saying it's not verified. Okay, so now you can see installed assets has increased from 25 to 26, and now we have 2 unverified assets. So I'm going to go ahead and just touch installed assets, and that'll just provide a list of all the assets that I've installed. There's the photo that I uploaded when I installed that asset. If I ever need to, I can just scroll through this list. If I want to look at a current asset, I'll just grab this first one, this 2017 Ford Transit. I'll just touch him, and that'll pull up the asset name, a bunch of asset details that I entered. Okay, I can switch over to the Device tab. Gives me information about that telematics device. If there are any sensors installed on this unit, I'd see them here. And then I can go to the map. This is a good way to see if this asset is reporting in its lat long, viewing its location. So this is the current location. If I click the history, you'll see on the map the history for this particular asset, and I can hit the start button. It just kind of gives me verification that this unit is working. Maybe I took it for a test drive, and I can see exactly where I went. The details, if I click that tab at the bottom, these are the details that make up that trip. This was, if you hit the information button on the upper right-hand corner, you could change the map to a satellite or hybrid, and then you can choose a different date. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to hit the back button. So that, by just clicking on the picture itself or clicking on the 3 dots on the right, that brings me into that view mode of the asset. If I added this asset by mistake, for example, I want to delete it. You see the little trash can in the upper right. So it will prompt you to say, hey, are you sure you want to delete this asset? I'm going to hit cancel. Okay, so let's go scroll down to the one I just installed. And there he is, truck 123. You can see he's unverified. I just click on the truck's name and you can just verify the information. Okay, if I made a mistake or if I wanted to edit any one of these assets, I would click the little pencil icon. So let's say I made a mistake on this particular guy. So what that'll do is take me back into edit mode. So let's say it wasn't a Tundra, it was a Sequoia. Okay, I can hit next, and everything looked good, so I'll hit save. Okay, it still says it's not verified, but that's fine. Okay, so everything looks good. I'm going to go ahead and hit the home screen. Okay, so again, 26 installed assets, 24 verified, 2 were unverified. I can select just unverified, for example, and I'll just kind of filter down to the ones that are unverified. So these, again, you'll want to make sure that the telematics device was installed properly, that it has power, that it's getting a GPS signal, and that it's communicating to the TeMeDa backend servers. Once all that occurs, usually you let the asset run for up to 3 minutes, and it will start reporting in. It should start reporting immediately, but give it up to 3 minutes, and then you should see these go from unverified to verified. Okay, I'm going to go back home. Let's see here. So I'll move on down to help. So we've got some help information here. The first link is for help on using this app. I'll just click that real quick. So there's a couple links here to TeMeDa.com and to our AT&T TeMeDa.com site. Also, there's a description there of the difference between verified and unverified. Hit the back button. So on Maury, there's some installation guides on the MC1, MC3, also the Maury harness line, the different harnesses that we can hook up to our devices. Just click that quick. You can see the different harnesses here. Okay, I'll go back. And then there's some additional installation notes on CalAmp, telematics devices, and smart witness cameras. Okay, I'm going to go back home. Okay, the last thing is contact us. So if you ever need to get a hold of customer support, you could call them directly here. I'm going to go ahead and hit cancel. You could send a text message or send an email. Okay, and that's a quick overview of the TeMeDa Installer app.